Hi Virgos, how are you? I'm so happy to see you back here in our kingdom. It is always good here and I hope you are doing well. We are just going to tap into your chakras today and see what the Lord wants to show you about some kind of chakra blockage that I'm already beginning to feel, beginning to see and process. It's kind of just like this slow landslide, but it's very thick, very muddy. And I'm getting the essence of that it's this compounded dirt that's been stepped on over and over and over and over and over again, and it's finally feeling its first touches of the living water. How beautiful. And that's why this mud is just so thick. That's why this ooey gooey stuff inside this cocoon that you're feeling is starting to activate and metamorphosize. I love this so much, Virgo. Oh my gosh. Let's get into this. Let's see what your rainbow is going to show us today. And usually when there's a cocoon, it's because the caterpillar has trusted the process. And what happens after the process is trusted. So I'm curious as to when you finally get to that moment, when you feel your wings have spread and you're able to gain all the knowledge, wisdom, power, perception, clarity, colors of your full rainbow, what they would reflect like on your wings. And only you benefit from that. How beautiful. Let's see. Jehovah, this is such a glorious morning. Thank you so much for being here. For Virgo energy here, yeah, I saw it. It's this one. Okay. My eyes darted over there, and then I said, no, we'll continue on. Nope, they went back. All right. So for Virgo chakras here, let's see. You know, this is just in my nostrils, so just go with it. Just give me a second here. So good. 211 there. Let's see. Oh, I love this, Virgo. This is exactly what we're seeing here. Your third eye is being clearly represented, 222, which brings me to this. Isaiah is going through me now. Isaiah 25:7 speaks that he will rip the veil off of all nations. And then 25:8 goes on to say that he will wipe the tears from all faces. And so the tears is that living water that this nation has finally decided to cleanse itself with. This veil being ripped off, this illusion, the fog, the third eye awakening, the crystal activating, and pew, 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 pew. All of a sudden there's this knowledge that you've never had before. And what God is doing is he's bringing his child in hermit-wise, internally, Yeshua energy, to forgive yourself, forgive others, and move on in this forgiving, living water. And it is holy. It is such a good place to be. Don't even dabble your toes and just jump right in, honey. I promise you. Look at this balance here. There's very much Libra energy here, too, that I can't help but pick up. You know, you might have Libra on the opposite side of your chart here. You also might be influenced by a third party meaning an external person. Second party within you is your spirit versus your flesh, 333. It's your victim and your ego versus your spirit. Church versus state, flesh versus spirit. Romans, he wants you to read Romans 8 specifically. So moving on though, we see this, you know, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2 back and forth, and us as human egos forget that that second person is our spirit, when really we need to flip the two and operate out of our spirit. That second person is our victim. We always need to honor our victim and empower our victim, so this victim never becomes the wrong side of the scale here. It's just equal, it's balanced, and if anything, this will always be higher up here and able to frequency it out, because this is always going to be ever changing for you. This rainbow is constantly glowing for you as this living water produces on. So moving there forward, then we see this third party, which is just me and you. This is third party right now, whether you would like to allow your flesh and your brain to think that or not, accept it, bring in the balance and say, look at, he's even saying, look at, there's three parties right here, and he just wants you to have two. This is so beautiful. You need to become more balanced within yourself. 444 is going to be right here. Before you can become 444 right there, protected. Yes, Lord, he is protecting you, because these third-party influences, Virgo, They do not help you see clearly. They do not have your best interest at heart. They see you with their peripherals when you see them with your dead-on centered vision and the focus that you've always had with them. But then you're out in their peripheral land, and where's the meat in the middle? Where's the balance in it? There's not. So if there can't be balance made anymore, then we have to go back in. We have to create the boundary, take ourselves away from that third party, and bring us back into ourselves. And if ourselves, we're not just one entity, we're flesh and spirit. But our flesh likes to talk to itself. Our flesh likes to allow ourselves to be tempted to go down further into the flesh, that the serpent would so say. Okay, because we are here born on earth. The snake was already here when Adam and Eve were presented with their flesh as well. So here comes this polarity battle with this Libra energy, this balance of yes, no, yin, yang, right, wrong, light, dark, pain free or faith. And here comes this opportunity of growth. And this third eye is awakening and opening for you, Virgo, because you're finally starting to see all of the good that's going to start coming for you, because you're starting to feel it as well. Your third eye is 2 by 2 along with the rest of this rainbow, depending on which starting point and perspective we are in the paradigm. So if we're coming from the third eye, then we're coming from the throat, and you're starting to be truthful to yourself on the inside, which just comes from that solar plexus action. However, that heart is the overall converter, transformer, where Jesus lives, that Jesus energy there. And as Jesus is being gathered in your heart space, it's just brewing you. He is brewing you for further potential, for everything more that you could ever need to balance yourself out. But you are the one, Virgo, that has to be willing to do it. I love it so much. Please remember that having this two-way perspective is only internal. When you have a third party, it's a four-way perspective, because you have this perspective from looking towards yourself and looking towards them. But then you also have, well, how do they see me? And how are they presenting themselves towards me? How do they see themselves? So not only are you forgetting, are we not acknowledging, have we never been taught, honestly, as either human, to think about another person's side? We so say that in like conflict resolution 7-Eleven. But do we ever actually think, this is where they're coming from, so this is why they would think this. This is where I'm coming from, so this is why I would think this. And if this is not going to mesh, then it needs to just, it's going to refract, right? Like two magnets can either go poof, or they're going to go whoom, and they're going to go right apart. So what happens is when we find these third-party situations that do not have our best interests, that always are, in the peripheral zone, just keeping you as a convenience to them, what do you think is going to happen? Boom, because it's not meant to be for you. And God is saying in Luke 12:49, my child, I want to balance you out, because I don't bring you the peace. You decide to bring your own peace when you decide to surrender to your suffering. I only divide you from what doesn't make you peaceful. I divide you from your own Red Sea to bring in that land versus water, that temperance energy, the true manifestation of new flesh within that temperament system, your divine feminine and masculine energies, your temperament, how you behave and how you operate. So as we see this third eye opening, you're really having the spiritual awakening for the very first time, but you haven't been prepared for it. I feel as it's all automatically just come. And you're like, what the hell is going on? And I'm not sure what I'm experiencing, but I know that I'm experiencing it. And I trust you. I believe you in anything that you were to ever tell me that you were experiencing, because I have experienced my own walk with God. And anyone who hasn't is always going to neglect it, because they are still operating out of flesh. Don't forget to read Romans 8. Let's check out the bottom of this deck. Oh my gosh, look at this. I love this so much. So he's truly ascending you perfectly, because we saw that throat to the third eye to the crown, but that throat is going to come from that heart spectrum, because the heart is the sixth. It's the overall transformer converter to get rid of all the Decepticons within your electrical circuits. So here we are, and this heart is going to go to that third eye, but in between, in that feminine spectrum, the internal is going to be that throat. So speaking the truth, masculinity-wise, 9/11, from our solar plexus, you can see where once again, your balance is coming together to connect you over and over and over, which is why it's going to go up to your crown and fuel it. And you are going to know your true instinct, because you made the room for it. You allowed God to wash it from you, to part it from you, to divide it from you. And look at this, is just so beautiful, because you have 2 in 1. This is the third party right here. So thank you so much, Lord, for having my back in that. I love that. Don't forget to read Romans 8. I love you, and God loves you more than me. Wounds into light.